y'all, it's me. I am here to answer my first question. So I am starting this series with this question because it's by far the most common question I get in person out on the campaign trail. And I thought this would be a good way to answer it and just put that to bed. So everybody wants to know, are you a Republican or Democrat? I do plan to answer that question for you today, but first I want to talk about judicial races just in general. So in judicial races in Kentucky, we run as nonpartisan. What that means is we don't run under any sort of political umbrella. We don't run as the nominee of this particular party or that particular party. We are completely independent. I love that role. I think it's fantastic. As someone who spent my life in courtrooms, I know that the most important thing in a courtroom is to have a judge that is nonpartisan and impartial and comes at every case equally and with fair treatment to all parties. So I think that is a good, if nothing else, training ground for you to get on the bench and do the same, because that's what you're going to be required to do. We as judges are asked and commanded that we must set aside any personal beliefs or preconceived notions and rule only on the evidence according to the law. So I think it's a fantastic rule. And I want to just kind of go through some of the rules themselves very quickly because I'm a rules girl. I like to know why someone believes the way they do. So I thought that it would be important to just briefly touch on a few of these rules in the Kentucky Code of Judicial Conduct to kind of explain what they say and why I have chosen to conduct this election in the way I have. So in Canon 1, Rule 1.2, what it says is a judge shall. When you see shall in legal speak, what that means is this isn't an option. You must. So a judge or judicial candidate even shall act at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity, independence, and impartiality of the judiciary, and shall avoid impropriety and the appearance of impropriety, which is important in this context. Rule 2.4, still in Canon 1, talks about external influences on judicial conduct. What it says is a judge shall not permit family, social, political, financial, or other interests to influence their conduct or judgment. Section C under that same rule says a judge shall not convey or permit others to convey the impression that any person or organization is in a position to influence the judge. Again, I think that one's pretty important for our conversation today. Now, Canon 4 is the canon that speaks directly to campaign activities of a judge or judicial candidate. This one also is directly on point. I'm looking at Rule 4.1, political and campaign activities of a judge or judicial candidate. Except as permitted by law, this is A, number 6 and 7, a judge shall not, number 6, is publicly identify himself or herself as a nominee of a political organization. So, fun fact, back in the mid-2010s, it was actually illegal and judges were prevented completely from answering this question. What are you registered as? You couldn't disclose it at all. Well, an attorney back in the mid-2010s actually sued and claimed that that rule specifically infringed on his freedom of speech rights, and the court agreed. So from then on, this was sort of changed to allow us to identify our political party, but we must at the same time make it clear that we are not a nominee of that political party. Again, to preserve that impartiality and nonpartisan nature of this campaign. Number 7, a judge shall not seek, accept, or use endorsements from a political organization. Again, you can't do it and you can't allow another person to do it. So with all those things in mind, I can tell you that I am registered a Republican. I have been since I was 18. Now, that being said, I want you to know that the most important thing to me is that everyone understands I will be a judge for every person that steps in that courtroom, a fair judge to every person that steps in that courtroom. So I don't care if you're a Democrat, Independent, Green Party, a party I haven't even heard of. None of that will matter to me when I'm on that bench. And it should not matter to a judge that's on that bench. The only thing that should matter is making sure that every person who walks in there and is appearing before the court is given fair and equal treatment under the law. And that's exactly what I plan to do. Because that is the most important thing to me, to preserve the public's belief in the non-partiality and independence of the judiciary. I have chosen not to allow the local Republican Party to promote my candidacy in any way. You may have noticed that my signs have not been on the Republican floats, while some other judicial candidates have been, as well as my information about my candidacy has not been posted on any of their social media accounts. That has been at my request. I was offered the opportunity, and I absolutely appreciated that opportunity. But to me, I believe the ethics rules are fairly clear on this issue. I believe that the ethics rules prevent us from doing that. But quite honestly, even if it's found that the ethics rules do not prevent us from allowing a political party to openly promote us as candidates, I believe it's just absolutely destructive to the spirit of an independent and impartial judiciary. So either way, I chose not to participate in it. And I just wanted to get on here today to kind of answer that question, because that is just everybody wants to know. So if you have any more questions, please remember to email us at support@amandawillsseipert.com, and I'll be happy to answer your question. So I will talk at y'all later.